close by, but I do have a little PowerPoint presentation here that I wanted to share with you. My name's Randy Cox, and I've written a book on Henry Aaron, an icon in baseball, and we started off the book a couple of years ago. Henry Aaron had passed away in 2021 at the age of 86, and we were all very, very sad that he was not with us. He had a wonderful life, great athletic career, great post-career with the Braves, and the newspaper that I wrote for in 1974, I had been a sports editor, and I sent myself to the game that night when he broke Babe Ruth's record. Well, in 2021, the people at the Valley Times News in Lynette had asked me to do a tribute to Hank Aaron, and I did that, and they ran some photos that I had taken that night out of the home run, and it got me to thinking, I need to do a little more than just a tribute, at the newspaper. So I'm thinking, okay, you've got all these photo negatives that had not been, the pictures had not been published. We published maybe 9 or 10 photos in the newspaper, but there was maybe 30 or 40 that were not published. So I'm thinking, I got to at least put this into a Google book for my grandchildren so they can see them, because they're not going to do anything with these negatives. So I did that, and it was okay, and I thought, well, let's see what else we can do. And I had sent some queries to some companies like Triumph Books and Kensington Press, and they were interested. Triumph Books had already done Terrence Moore's book the year before, and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So they were a little reluctant to publish it. So I kept looking, and I finally found a gentleman in South Orange, New Jersey. His name was Walt Friedman, and he runs a publication house that publishes books only about baseball. So I figured, hey, this is cool, and he wanted to work with me, and we did. And the culmination was the book here, 715 at 50, and it was published in just last month in March, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. We've started doing book signings here around Barnes & Noble, and we have a book signing coming up a couple of weeks in Hank Aaron's hometown of Mobile, and we're going to be at the Art Walk and celebrate Henry Aaron's birthday, Henry Aaron's 715th home run. So we're getting a little bit of attention on this, and I'm really happy that people are interested. Just wanted to give you a little bit of history of how things happened. I was 24 when I took the pictures of Hank Aaron and the 715th home run, and now I'm 74 in 2024. So that's a fast 50 years that goes by. But we've enjoyed talking with people about Hank Aaron and his life, and he did have quite a life. Starting off, as I said, in Mobile. He did not actually play baseball in high school. The first time he played was semi-pro with the Mobile Bay Bears, but it was a long road for Bad Henry, as pitchers used to call him, because he was so devastating at the plate. Of course, he was called the Hammer, and it went from when he was born in the 30s to the 70s when he broke the record. But that wasn't all. He went on to play 2 more years. After he played with the Braves, he played with the Milwaukee Brewers as designated hitter, and he ended up with 755 home runs. And I get tickled. Some of the people that we talked to at the Truist and the Battery, a lot of people claimed to be there. If as many people claimed to have been there, it would have been like 1 million people had been there. But there was only 53,775 paid attendance there. But we got to give you a little bit of background on how I got started with this. We were getting interested in the Braves playing the Yankees in the '57 World Series, and that was just one of the best World Series that I think I've ever seen. It was Hank Aaron, Eddie Matthews, Warren Spahn, Lou Burdett versus the Yankees and Mickey Mantle. But Mickey Mantle, unfortunately for them, he got hurt. The Braves won the World Series there. But that was the first time that I started watching baseball on TV. I grew up here in Decatur, and we were going to a Cub Scout meeting. They used to play afternoon games at the World Series, and we were watching Hank Aaron and Eddie Matthews doing their feats on the ballpark. And little did I know later, when I was doing research for this book, that Henry Aaron was an Eagle Scout. He was an Eagle Scout. So we were Cub Scouts watching an Eagle Scout hit those home runs, and we were really proud of it. So I grew up really Henry Aaron and Mickey Mantle as my idols. And the opportunity came when we were watching the Crackers, and we were excited about them, but then all of a sudden the Braves are going to move down here. And well, we were excited, but then 1965 arrives and no Braves, because Milwaukee County wanted to hold them for a year. They had litigation which held them for the '65 season. And then '66 they did move down here, and my dad and I started going to the Braves game. And then as things progressed, in 1969 we got to go see the first division game ever played between the Braves and the Mets. And of course we don't talk too much about that because we got creamed about Tom Seaver. But that was the first division game. And then skip over 2 more years to '71, and I was studying journalism and not real sure what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't want to do anything, as far as math or anything. So I thought, well, journalism sounds good. So I was able to go to the game in which Aaron was right on 599 home runs, and he hit his 600th home run that night against the Giants. We lost against the Giants. Ron Reed was pitching that night, and he's featured in my book. I interviewed Ron Reed and Buzz Capra, who were the winning and saving pitchers for the 7/15 game. So we got to talk to Hank Aaron after the 600th home run, and it was real informal. It wasn't like it is now, But we asked him how he felt about tying or breaking Babe Ruth's record. And this was in '71, and he said, that's a long way off. I'll just try to get 1 home run at a time. So '71 to '74, 3 years passed, and he was sitting on 713 at the end of the '73 season. So I had already transitioned from journalism student to a sports editor at the Valley Times News, and I'd been there about a year, hardly had been trained on a 35 millimeter camera, but I did go that night. My cousin went with me. We had no problem getting press passes from Bob Hope, who lives in Decatur, by the way, and he was the public relations guru for the Braves. Had no problem, and we went to the game, and luckily, Hank Aaron hits the 7/15th on his first swing. Let me get into these PowerPoint things here. There's the cover of the book. And the photo. I had a section on Babe Ruth in the book that gives a little background of how he started. Of course, he started off as a pitcher, and he was such a good hitter, they had to make him in the lineup every day. So he had quite a career. And this picture is pretty cool. This is Babe Ruth in the 1930s. After his swing, this is at Ponce de Leon Ballpark, and that's where the Crackers played for 30 or 40 years. And of course, the Crackers were known as the New York Yankees of the South, as far as they won more championships, I think, than any other minor league team. They had a real good following, and they had a lot of alumni like Bob Uecker, Eddie Matthews, who was featured on the very first cover of Sports Illustrated in 1951, and Tim McCarver was with the Crackers. So they had some really good players. And there's a picture of Hank Aaron in his younger days. And I have to tell you that this is my fourth book. This is the Hank Aaron book, but I had written 3 other books that I started in 2004, and I've been collecting baseball trivia, baseball memorabilia, comic books, and the first book was called A Baby Boomer's Guide to Collecting Comic Books and Baseball Cards. And that was also included the picture that I took of 7/15. The second book seemed like I come up with something about every 6 or 7 years. The second book was smaller, and a lady said they like this one better because it has chapters on dolls, and we have board games and that kind of thing in it. So I ended up this trilogy with. It all started with Davy Crockett. And I was a Davy Crockett fanatic there when I was 5 years old, the Davy Crockett craze in '55. And we actually got to meet Fess Parker one time when he was at Lowe's Grand. But anyway, I like to tell people that the trilogy keeps getting smaller, so I call it the Incredible Shrinking Trilogy. And we finished with about 39 or 40 collectibles. And then, like I said, I was kind of looking for something else to write about, and this turned out to be something that we were really interested in. And just to let you know, this was the year the Crackers were kept. We're still at in Atlanta because Milwaukee had kept the Braves in Milwaukee, and so we got to watch the Crackers at Fulton County Stadium. And of course they left after the Braves came in '66. The program there is the night of the home run, the 715th home run, and Aaron is pictured with Traveling Secretary Donald Davidson, and he's a story in himself. He was a really good traveling secretary, but he was, I don't know, let's do this kind of friendly, kind of abrupt with folks. And he could get by with it. But one time he was they were in Cincinnati at the Netherlands Hotel for one of the games the Braves had with the Reds. And Warren Spahn and Lou Burdett were getting in the elevator to go up to their floor. I think it was on the 11th floor. And all of a sudden, Don Davidson comes running up to catch the elevator, and he gets on the elevator, and he very rudely says, "Punch 24 for me." And Spahn and Burdett kind of look at him, don't do anything. They go up to their 11th floor, both step off, and they say, "Punch it yourself, you little so-and-so." And Don Davidson couldn't reach the buttons. So he had to go back downstairs and get the guy with the hotel to take him up to punch the button for him. And then he decided never to have that high room again. But he was known for playing pranks on people, and they were always trying to get pranks for him on him. And it was one of those, kind of friendly things, but sometimes they get out of hand, but it was pretty cool. And he's written a book, and let's see, it's a good book. I forgot the name of it. Something. You remember what is the book's name? And something about being short or whatever. Anyway. But and Bob Hope's written a nice book called We Could Have Lost Without You, which is the story of the Braves from 25 years where they didn't do very well. But he left, and the Braves did finally start doing better. This is just the beginning of the game, and the maintenance crew is getting ready for the game, and they have 44 lovely bad girls with 44 on their jerseys to provide a phalanx for Milo Hamilton and Hank Aaron to come in. And these are some of the pregame things. Good old Nakahoma, also known as Levi Walker, who actually, in his real job, he worked for my first wife at Atlanta at the Air Force, Army and Air Force Exchange Service. And then you see Hamilton there in the middle, waiting to do some kind of ceremony. And I love this. I love this picture because you look at a picture of today's crowd at a ball game. You're not gonna see, but there's like two spirit wear. You got a P and you got the little A. Nobody else. But if you go to a game today, everybody's gonna have spirit wear. It's just the time, and it lets Major League Baseball make a lot of money. They are in charge of all these spirit wear and clubhouse stores, and I know because we had applied to get the book in the clubhouse store of the Braves, and it wasn't very cheap, like $10,000 to get the book in. So we would have had to sell about 6,500 books. So we said, no, I don't think so. But it's a major business, and of course they have to pay a lot of heavy salaries too. But anyway, it's kind of cool. I like to watch these moment in time right before the game. Folks look kind of anxious, but they're excited too. And you couldn't do this today with these two here smoking. That would not go over, But you can see the faces are kind of anxious. This is kind of a wet Monday night. It was dreary, but folks are excited. And here is the pictures of the night. And I got to tell you, Ron Reed, who lives in Lilburn, he's been had some publicity with the 50th anniversary, and Buzz Capra, who saved the game, he and Ron were both down for the anniversary game a couple of weeks ago, and they are featured in the book. I had interviews with them and Bob Hope. Al Downing, I'm not sure if they invited him back, but he's a great guy, and he had to take a lot of ribbing from that, being the pitcher for the home run. And he had said before the game something about, well, it's not going to be on my watch. It's going to be the next guy is going to give up the home run. It's not going to be me, but famous last words. But anyway, because he was a great pitcher. Aaron was at the infield circle waiting to bat, and we were about 10 or 15 feet in the first base photography box, and I was able to get pretty good pictures. And that's the actual home run up there at the top. And this is his routine, his regiment, thinking about the pitcher and swinging, just getting a little bit of a looseness, and then he's getting ready to get up, and he's got his bat going, and just a little bit of routine where he's thinking, and that's the home run. That's the moment in time where he hit it over left field fence. Tom House caught it in the air. Buzz Capra was out in the bullpen at the time, and he told me that he switched places with Tom House right before the home run. So he said if he hadn't switched places, he might have caught it. But House caught it, ran it straight to Hank Aaron, and handed it to him. And I think one reason he did that was because when they had the 7-14th home run in Cincinnati, one of the off-duty security guards caught the ball on the bounce, and they had all kinds of problems with different people in the stadium trying to get the ball. It finally got back to an umpire on that home run, and the umpire gave it to Hank Aaron. But House wanted to be sure that he gave Aaron the home run, and he said, Hank, here's the home run ball, and Hank said, thanks, kid. So that was Tom House's. That was a highlight of his career, according to some interviews. He had a pretty good career. He had a good season that year, and then he went on to do some coaching and hitting instruction that developed some new techniques for pitching. So he had a good career, and he was there that night a couple of weeks ago. Tom House and Marty Perez, like I say, Ron Reed, Buzz Capra, of course Billy Aaron, and some of the other players that were in the game. So it was good to see them. Dusty Baker, of course, and Ralph Garr were there too. So there's the home run, and there's another version that another photographer took of his home run. And then the move over, babe, here comes Henry. That was the little jumbotron, I forgot exactly what you call it, the sign there. And then I'll read this to you. I don't think this picture is actually in the book, but it was taken by one of the photographers with the Atlanta Journal. It says, "You were there, you fans here at Atlanta Stadium tonight, Monday, April 8th, 1974, have just witnessed one of the great, if not the greatest, moments in recorded sports history." And I try to tell that in my book too. Kurt Gowdy, who was a announcer for NBC, he was probably the first to have said that, and I still think it was probably the biggest moment in sports history, at least baseball history. Okay, anybody remember those two guys that went on the field? That was kind of strange. They were two college students that were at the game, and after the game, one of them, Dr. Courtney was, he became an ophthalmologist. The other one was Britt Gaston, and they asked Courtney why they did that. See, the security people were all looking at the celebrities, something guarding them, because Sammy Davis Jr., Pearl Bailey, Red Fox, all those people were there. But they weren't expecting somebody to jump on the field. And Courtney said it was just spontaneous to do it. We just jumped on the field, and of course, they wanted to congratulate him, but the security people didn't know that. And Hank Aaron had a bodyguard. He had his gun. He had his hand on his gun, and he was just waiting and waiting. And of course, they were just congratulating him, so nothing happened. But it was one of those things where it's good that they were friendly, because otherwise they'd have been in bad shape. But they did take him to jail for about 3 hours and let him go, and they had their notoriety. This is a scene at the end of the home run when they're gathering around, and Dusty Baker was on deck to hit after Aaron, but he wasn't the first one to see him. It was Davey Johnson, and Davey and Dusty were both became managers and won several World Series. Okay, yeah, my wife didn't put this one in color. It's not even colored in the book, but you got all these photographers gathering around Hank Aaron there. Well, I'm right here. I'm over there taking pictures, and I didn't find this photograph until I saw a book by Paul Crater called Baseball in Atlanta, and I got to looking at it, and I said, well, my gosh, there I am. So anyway, we put that in the book. It was kind of interesting. And then, of course, they stopped the game for the post home run celebration stuff. And there's Hank and Billy talking after the game, talking about how everything came about, and it was a press conference that was in the locker room. And there's a picture that's in the book. It's the 1997 rendering of the demolition of Atlanta Stadium. And once they cleared everything out, the only thing that was left was the 715 wall, which we went up to see. It doesn't look like too much right now. They've kind of let it run down. But the parking lot is now a parking lot for the Georgia State football stadium. But Georgia State is going to make the parking lot into a baseball facility for their varsity and junior varsity teams. But they're going to keep this wall, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with it. They might do some kind of monument, but and they'll probably keep it in the same place. I think people would enjoy that. This is some of the coverage that we've been lucky enough to get in the past few weeks. The picture up on the left is Reggie Chapman with 11 Live News interviewing me the day of the anniversary, which was April the 8th, a couple of weeks ago. The one in the bottom is Adam Murphy doing one for Atlanta News First, Channel 46, and they did real good jobs on that. There's Adam in the far right, and then our poster there in front of the Baseballism store, which we're going to be at next Saturday at True West, and we'll have the books available. The gentleman that runs that has been real nice to let us set up there and sell our books. This is some of the people that have come by and looked at the clippings and the books and everything. And the little boy, I said, I took this picture 50 years ago, and this paper's 50 years old. And that was his reaction. 50 years ago. So he was excited about it. And that's the ticket for, I was telling a gentleman beforehand that we got free tickets for the anniversary game on the April the 8th, and we sat in a group. There was about 50 or 60 of fans and folks who were there at the game. And they gave us, if you could prove that you were at the game with a ticket stub, or in my case with pictures, they gave you free tickets. Probably the only thing the Braves of Major League Baseball give you for free. And I was glad to go on that. And this is a poster that they gave out along with the bobblehead. I didn't bring the bobblehead today, but that was a poster they gave out at the anniversary game. And at the anniversary game, they had 750 people, or 755 people out there representing each home run that he hit. And they had done that after the 10-year or 20-year anniversary. I don't know if they knew that or not, but it made a pretty good, spectacular scene with the baseball with a number of that home run. And that's about it. There's my business card, and does anyone have any questions or thoughts that I know some, is anybody actually at the game? Yes, Mr. Drew. And you were sitting where? You want to come up here with me so we can hear you? This is Walter Drake, and he is writing a book about the city of Decatur, and I think you're probably going to be ready to publish that pretty quick, aren't you?
I don't know how quick. It's been a long time. Melissa's laughing at me back there because she knows how long it's been.
But he's got proof.
I got proof. What they gave us that night was this little plaque that says 7:15, and you could fill in the date and your name there. And then I had my ticket stub, and it was opening night, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It was opening night.
Because
Yes.
he finished with 713 at the end of the previous season, and then they started away games.
Right.
A number of away games. He hit
Cincinnati.
one home run, I guess it was in Cincinnati or somewhere before they came back to Atlanta for the opening in Atlanta.
Right.
And then he actually hit the 714 with about 3 more games on the road, and everybody was worried, oh, he's going to hit the record-breaking home run on the road. And I don't know whether he kind of purposely didn't hit a home run those next 3 games, but
The game that he did have to play, he went 0 for 4, and
it was just one game,
yeah, and then they set him out 1 game. So.
But they came back here, and of course everybody was all excited about it, and it was opening night, and we had bought, I'm with the firm, Curdy Candler Law Firm, and we had bought, and I was sort of in charge of it then, and we bought like 15 tickets and took a whole group from the firm. So all of us got to see this, and got one of these little plaques, and then George Carley was one of the persons with the firm back then. He went on to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and George, he's deceased now, but his wife was a real artsy person, and so when we got these little plaques, he got these frames for us to put our ticket stubs in where we had proof that we were there. But it was a great game and a great experience.
And we actually won the game.
Yep.
And Hank Aaron, after the game, said, the home run was great, but the most important part was we won the game.
Yeah.
So he was a team player, and everybody just loved him.
Yeah.
They called him Superman.
And he was glad it was over too,
He
because
sure was.
a lot of pressure on him before.
Oh,
then.
yeah, for sure.
There was some hate mail as well as a lot of supportive mail, but it was a great experience. I'll never forget seeing that game, and I was glad I was there. And I can't believe I'm this old now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Walter. Appreciate it.